Welcome back to VCR. We're going to look at another VCR. This is an RCA, significantly newer than the last one, by about 10 years actually. This is, I want to say late 91, early 92, I believe, when this came out. So it's a 4-head, and this is of the era where there are no more controls on the front, except the bare bones basic operation. Everything else, you need the remote. So yeah, late 91, early 92, RCA. I believe this is made by Hitachi. So this is some of the Hitachi models still being sold by RCA, but by this point their lower end ones were Samsung, I believe. I've already opened it up, taken it apart for streamlined efficiency and inspection pre-bringing it inside. So yeah, let's see if it powers on first. Plug you in. Oh, is it on? I swear I see a little something there. No, that's just a reflection. Oh, no, it is on. Jesus. Oh my God, that is dim. It looks way brighter on the camera. Holy crap. Wow, that's dim. Right off the bat, I've had very bad luck with this era of Hitachi. We're not getting an output. Now, that's on the LCD. Who knows? Maybe it just doesn't blue screen. It's like it almost shuts off there. 8, 11, blank, 4, 8, 11. Oh, that's line in. Okay. So it's only got a few channels programmed. Let's see if it does anything. Okay. Oh! Wait, okay. All right. That's more than I could have expected. Belts are a little squiggly. Seem to pull it all in. It's all good. I'm getting a bad but present picture. Getting no sound at all. Oh. And it just stopped. Okay. All right, for starters, I think let's change this belt out. Watch this. Power on. Don't know if it's on or not. Let's try and help it along the way here. Nope, not fast enough. But this belt's just trashed, so let's let it time out, and I'll put something on here that's... Oh. Yeah, let me find something that's a little bit less gummy. All right. Still jamming up, eh? Is that the... That belt's pretty good. What's going on here? It's actually getting stuck. The tape's sitting wonky. Anyway, back to where we were before. I do have the audio hooked up here. So I should be getting... Must be muted or something. Should be audio. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's just turned down. Do I have pause? No, I do not. Interesting. If I go through here... Funny that I had a blue screen before and now I don't. Will I be able to pick up any of the channels if I hook up my tuner here? I'm going to have to grab an RCA remote because I'm going to have to direct tune some channels in. God, that is so dim. Okay, I grabbed a remote that's older. This is a 87. This is that VCR I did a video on like ages ago, the VMT 400 with the special effects. Might have been the first video I ever did. Anyway, 1987 RCA remote on a 91-92 VCR. No problem. They use the same codes forever. So, punched in channel 2. No problem. Program. It's a little dark and a little washed out. Like it kind of looks pissy yellow, the white text, and there's a lot of dot crawl. This is a Hitachi. I don't want to jump to conclusions, but capacitors. I'm amazed that's working at all, to be honest. Now, as far as the issue with the tape not going in, what was happening, the left-hand side would kind of be left behind and it would bind up. Let's eject here. I'm not exactly sure what the source of the problem is, but I can tell you what I did to fix it. I took the bottom of the cassette here and I bent it up slightly, just to put a little bit more friction on the cassette, the tape cassette when it goes in. There. So now, see if I try and pull it back, it seems to be held just ever slightly firmer. Before, this side was a lot more loose. This side's definitely the firm side. It seems to get stuck there. But in general, it's being held pretty equally. So when I push, it just goes right down. I kind of love these one belt mechanisms. And this is not just one belt. This is like, I think 2 motors, 3 if you include the video head drum. The motor, this one here, I believe just loads the tape. So like, let me power off. Does it unload if I power off? Yeah, so this moves the tape loading guides and controls the mode. So it's tied to the mode switch here. So things like play, pause, rewind, fast forward, when it moves the pinch roller in and out, that's all handled by this motor. And then on the bottom side, which isn't even really a side at all, it's a bottom. This, of course, is the capstan motor and drives the reel table, but this controls the eject, which Hitachi did, and it's kind of wild. So if I go and hit eject, it uses this to eject. Actually, is there a belt on this loading motor here, or is it just direct? I wonder if there's a clutch in there, because typically you don't want to have the motor pushing right against all the gears, because if anything binds up or sticks, you can just shred gears. So there might be there's a spring there might be like a clutch or something in that. I would hope there is. Or maybe that's just to account for slack on that gear moving back and forth a little bit. All right, yeah. 4-head dual azimuth, incredibly dirty inside. I don't know if this yellowing is it cigarette smoke? I don't really smell much here. Normally you'd smell like a ton. It's definitely dirty. But it doesn't smell like cigarette smoke. It smells like someone's house. Bit musty, bit dusty, dirty. But not smoky, which I guess is good. I mean, cleaning that stuff off is a pain in the butt. Well, let's see what else it plays. Actually, last time we were playing this tape, it was all wonky-doo. Now that I have a remote, I can adjust the tracking. Which... oh. Never mind, it's cleared itself up. Pause. Very nice. Play. Oh, you gotta hit pause again to unpause. Fast forward scan. Only one speed. Rewind scan. Sounds like it might be chewing the tape a little bit. Let's see. Can't really see any movement in there, but I can hear some crunch. Yeah, I can hear a bit of movement in there. I think the best course of action with that would be to maybe just put a bit of rubber renew on it. Doesn't sound too bad, but then again, it's only halfway through the tape. The real crunchiness happens at the end of the tape. I'm not exactly sure why that is, but If you do like a review rewind search at the end of a tape, it will bring out the worst of a pinch roller. Rewind or... Wait, why did I do rewind? I want to do fast forward. That was a lot to switch modes. So, not very fast. Pretty standard for a basic model of this era. Performance series. Does this have like an auto program for channels? We got VCR setup, 5. Auto program. So we're on normal, good, because that's my antenna. Auto program, 2. 2. 2. Really? 1. Okay. Add remove 4. Oh, I know why. It's because I'm on line in. So if I get out of here. Now, oh no, I'm on channel 2. Why the fuck is that not working? Program. And then 5. 2. I don't know. I don't know what the heck's going on here. I'm definitely not going to hit 5 because this remote is not a dual code remote. Some of the Hitachi and RCA remotes had VCR 1, VCR 2, kind of similar to the 3 VCR mode on Sony's. So if you have 2 VCRs in your cabinet, you can have both of them the same brand, RCA, both Hitachi or both Sony, or all 3 Sony, and you can have each remote set to a different code. So the way Sony did is they had a little switch that would go between 3 positions. RCA and Hitachi just had 2 function buttons, VCR 1, VCR 2, that would switch the modes. But this doesn't work. Oh, wait, what? Oh, it won't auto program while it's fast forwarding. So it's auto programming. Can I rewind? And it kicks me out. It doesn't have the smarts. Oh, that's adorable. Okay. Program. Then we go 5, 2. Yeah, okay. So I'm assuming that whatever logic I see in here does auto programming also does the syscon for the modes for the VCR and is only capable of doing so much. And I was demanding too much of it. So far, so good. The head drum sounds clean. There's no noise, no bearing issues, no dust, no dirt. Video heads seem nice and clean, at least the SP heads. Other than the dim display, it seems to be working fine. And that could be a worn out VFD, or that could be a voltage issue related to caps. So I'm gonna have to look at that and see. But I mean, other than that, it's just fine. I'm not smelling any capacitor juice. You know that sort of fishy electronics smell when you first power them on, like late 80s Panasonics for the first time, and they all just kind of make a big mess. Not smelling that. Here we go. Auto program successful. So let's try channel changing from the front. Perfect. Oh, that's weird. What happened to my TV box? Oh. Something's gone awry. Well, most of these are up. Let's look at how beautiful it is out today. Even this is running kind of slow. What is going on over there? Anyway, tuner seems to be working just great. Let's try an SLP tape to make sure all the heads are good. Alright, so tracking looks like crap. This doesn't have automatic tracking. Now the question is, do the channel buttons on the front adjust the tracking? Because that would be just peachy if they did. Really? That sucks. Okay, so that means that there is dedicated tracking buttons on the remote. Yes, there is. Well, I mean, the good news is that looks perfectly fine. Audio? Yeah, that's good. Let's try special effects. Pause. Play. Oh wait, pause again. We got fast forward. Nice and fast, because it's slower speed. Rewind. That's good. Slow motion. Does this have slow motion? Oh, it does. It just looks bad. Can I adjust the speed of the slow motion? Oh, cool. So this remote actually has buttons that are meant for this. Speed it up. Frame advance. Do I have to? I think I have to hit play and then pause, and then I can do frame advance. Yeah. So that you just move forward one whole frame. That button there. Cool. It just works. I threw an old belt. Sometimes I take the belts off of stuff and keep them. If they're not completely gummed up like the one off of this, they'll sometimes work on other stuff just fine, right? Like some machines are more demanding and the belt has sort of loosened up over time, but the rubber's still in good shape. Or if I just do a belt kit on something I really care about, even though the belts are good enough, I save them. Because like this machine, it works perfectly fine with that belt. It's got lots of torque. It's a good tightness. It's not pulling on the capstan too hard, affecting any sort of playback. It just works fine. Now the downside is, if I were to give this away or sell it to someone, because I'm probably not going to keep this. This is a pretty boring model, but I like to see these work and continue to be used out there, right? They don't make these anymore, so every VCR that gets saved from the recycler or landfill is a good thing. However, these kind of suck because, I mean, they're fine for watching store-bought movies, right? You just want to rewatch all your old movies or go to the thrift store and collect VHS tapes, fine. But when you're playing stuff recorded off TV on other models that's out of spec, so you have to adjust the tracking, or say it's EP or something, had to adjust the tracking like this one, all of a sudden now I need the remote. And I can't just use a universal and do channel up and down like some of them did, because I have to use the tracking buttons. Like if I hit play, all right, it's paused, pause. And then I use the channel buttons. Yeah, it doesn't do anything. Tracking's a little off. It's not completely continuous tracking actually, because it'll go from one side to the other, but it won't loop around. So I had it all the way to one side, but that wasn't quite enough, and tracking was noise was popping up on the bottom. So I just went all the way to the other side, and it seems clean now. But yeah, you need the original remote for tracking, which sucks because these are so hard to find. Yeah. Okay, not sure there's much else to show with this little guy. Well, we'll take a look at this VFD, see if we can get it working better. What? I hit stop. Why did it eject? Let's try that again. Play. Okay, so we're playing. I'm gonna hit stop once. Okay, I guess I must have hit it twice. Maybe it double bounced or something. So what else we got here? VCR Plus. This must have been really early with VCR Plus. When did VCR Plus come out?
If your VCR is a pain to program, then get rid of it. And get the one from RCA with VCR Plus built in. To record a show, just look for the VCR Plus code in your TV listing. Then punch it in. It's as simple as that. So if you had it with your old VCR, get rid of it. And get the new one from RCA with VCR Plus built in.
Buy an RCA VCR with VCR Plus and get 6 months of TV guide and 3 videotapes.
Wow. Okay, I looked it up. Late 80s is when it came out. And I actually found that commercial from 1992 advertising VCR Plus for basically the same VCR. This one, I guess, is a more baseline model than the one they showed. Through the blurry compression, I could see 2 more buttons here, but yeah. Remote's a little bit newer than this, but actually not far off. So, here's the plan. Let's test out VCR Plus. What was VCR Plus? It was a bunch of codes that basically went to a lookup table on the VCR. Editor me here. I really got to look this stuff up before I go and say it so authoritatively. No, it wasn't a lookup table. Apparently it was an algorithm, which is just right on the Wikipedia article. So instead of entering the start time, the stop time, the day, all that information, the length of the program, there was a lookup table that encoded all that information, start time, stop time, time of day or date, into I remember them being 5-digit but I think the length varied. So 5-digit, 3-digit, maybe more. But you just enter a code and it does everything else for you. So let's set the clock. Clock sets 4. Now I'm going to say that today, 9:35 a.m. Now I'm going to say it's 09 05 93. And then to end, push program. There we go. So now the clock is set. Man, I can barely even see it through the camera. I definitely can't see it on here. Does this have a display button? No, this is too old for a display button. The newer one, because this says on-screen display, would have a button that will bring up the clock and everything. But I have an old TV guide. September 18th to 24th, I believe 1993. That's why I picked the year. Yeah, 1993. So let's find a program to record. Now this, I believe, is going to be like I know I never actually used TV Guide. We were a family that subscribed to the local newspaper, Winnipeg Free Press. So we got the TV listings in the newspaper in a little booklet every Saturday edition. I think Free Press's big newspaper was on Saturday. So every Saturday you'd get your TV listings for the week and we would just use that. Oh, Columbia House. I can get Kenny G, Soul Asylum, the Sleepless in Seattle soundtrack, The Bodyguard. Oh, what could possibly go wrong? It's not like I'm going to get frustrated because I can only order music from one music distribution company. I used to hate that. My parents were members of Columbia House. And then as a kid, it's like, hey, yeah, with your money, you can go and buy CDs, but you have to buy them from Columbia House. And I'd be like, well, I want this music. Well, that's not available because that's not on Columbia Music. And oh man, the freedom when I got older of just like going to the store and buying a CD and not being obligated was so nice. What a gimmicky idea. Anyway. Oh yeah. So what region was this for? I think these TV guides were... Oh, I'm just going to get so distracted by these ads. I think these TV guides were for different regions. So I'm expecting that this is probably like the Grand Forks area. This looks like a US one. Yeah, this is all US. Yeah, these all have the numbers. So you see that number at the end there? Those are VCR Plus. So really, I mean, it doesn't matter where this is from or what. It's just going to program. If I do 51215, it's going to program in channel 9 for a 1-hour show starting at 4 p.m. on Saturday the 18th. You got that? Remember that? Okay. Let's hit program. 55115. Press program. So I want to record it just one time. There we go. Channel 18, 4 to 5 p.m. on the 18th. Tape speed SLP. So yeah, I can go through and change all that. Why channel 18? It says 9M. So there's got to be like a channel listing somewhere. 9M must be on channel 18. Yeah, okay. This is the North Dakota edition. So these are all the stations that are listed. And then these are the cable stations. So 9M. I don't even... Oh yeah, 9M is KMSP. Ah, there we go. So the channel beside there is the channel number, I'm assuming, on the local cable provider. So it's 9 Minneapolis, right? And it's 9 on the air, but cable it's on 18. So here, for example, 2 is on cable 2, 7 is on cable 7 or 5. So yeah, and then 12 is 12 or 15. I'm assuming these numbers are different depending on if you're on broadcast or cable. So would that mean that there's 2 VCR Plus listings, like say for 17 here? Or does it just pick one of them? Oh, you know what? I bet you the VCR, no, it wouldn't be crazy enough to have two different channels encoded in there, one for antenna, one for cable. That would just be weird. Yeah, I'm not entirely too sure how it would handle that. Biker mice from Mars. Oh, Jesus, my childhood. All right, here's an example. Super Sports Follies is 155. So if I punch this in, it's probably going to give me channel 4. But if I look at channel 4, it's 4 or 2, and the asterisk probably has something to do with which cable provider. Oh, VCR Plus Instant Programmer. The numbers that appear above next to each other and cable channels, as well as plus code numbers, most daily listings are for convenience of viewers. VCR Plus. Yeah, oh, I didn't even have an ad for VCR Plus. Man, this shit was everywhere. Okay, let's try punching in 155 and see what it does. I bet you. Oh, wow. What? Program end. Okay, wow, they're really pushing it. If I just press the program button, it immediately goes to VCR Plus. And I have to hit program again to get back to the menu. Okay, 155. Program. One time. Channel 4. Okay, so it defaults to the first channel. If you are a cable subscriber, you're going to have to override it. And I'm assuming you can channel up or down to adjust it. Really? That's not very convenient. How do I change it? To erase, push clear. To end, push program. That's it. Okay. Well, tough shit if you got cable. All right, I need to make a correction here. And this is showing my ignorance of VCR Plus, because like I said, I never really used it. But let's go back into the menu on this machine. See this option here, VCR Plus channel setup? So if I hit 3, this is the relation between the channels. So what I do is I say the guide channel, channel 4, for example, but if I'm on cable, I would assign it to channel 2. So this is an initial setup that you need to do with your VCR and your cable provider. And I presume update it every so often when they move channels or change channels around. That seems like more work than just entering it when you put the program in. So here's another example. This is actually one that comes in a newspaper. This is from July of 1999. It is a TV Times from Kamloops. And so I kind of like the way they did this better. They have a nice TV listings grid. This is very similar to the newspaper TV listings I remember as a kid. And they have a column, VCR Plus codes. So all the codes listed in this TV guide, if you call it that, are assuming that the VCR Plus codes are giving you this channel. Now this channel doesn't even really line up with most of these here. So that kind of sucks, right? Like WUHF isn't channel 89 on any of these providers. These are all different like providers for different regions or cities or towns or whatever. So it was a lot more work to set it up initially. And like, I don't know, is it really worth your while? What's kind of nice about this one is these little tables actually have the VCR Plus numbers front and center for most items, not all. So they'll have like, I mean, they really, really have to abbreviate the show. What is FRA? But yeah, I just thought I would offer a correction there. You have to set up the cross-reference between the channels that your guide is assuming for VCR Plus and the channels that you're actually receiving from your provider. Kind of seems like a lot of work to me, but hey, whatever. I remember this being everywhere and I never understood the appeal of it. The first time I bought a brand new VCR, I went with my dad and I had two options. One was a 4-head mono model. It's a GE. To this day, I don't know who made it. Could have been Daewoo, I don't know. I thought, well, it's GE, it's RCA, they're good quality, blah, blah, blah. Didn't know any better. It was between that or a similar branded 4-head hi-fi model. The mono model had VCR Plus and the hi-fi model didn't. And I listened to my dad and the salesperson who said, hey, this is for your bedroom. You don't need hi-fi. Just get the one with VCR Plus. You'll use that more. I never used VCR Plus once in my life. I would set it myself, right? I don't want to trust that the number goes in well. What if it gets it wrong or something, right? What if there's a misprint? I know exactly the time I want to program it. It wasn't a big convenience for me. But you know what I wish I did get? Hi-fi. Because that VCR had the most muffled audio in SLP. It was trash. So yeah, life lesson. At any rate, that's VCR Plus for anyone who's curious how that thing works. It was a neat idea. I guess it made things easier. There was all these jokes about how hard it is to program a VCR. And I get it. If this isn't your cup of tea, if, you know, this sort of stuff and computers and programming things, the joke about, oh, I can't program the clock on my VCR, the old 90s boomer joke. Yeah, that was a real thing. These confused a lot of people. So I could see the reason behind it. Just not my jam. Anyway, let's look into this VFD. It's fine. It's fine. It's a little dim. I can see that in person. Look at how dirty this is. Look at this. Oh my God. I'm gonna get some Windex out. Okay, I know in a previous video I said that Zenith VCR had the most fogged up lens I've ever seen. No, this one wins. Holy crap. The Windex didn't even really do it. It's still dirty. And look at that. Let's see how this looks with the cover back on. I'm gonna leave one side clean and one not to see what difference it makes. I mean, it's not bright. These RCAs were never very bright, but wow, I can't even get over how fogged up that is. Let me clean this up and let's do a before and after. This is insane. Okay, well, it's sure a lot better. Let's try the other controls or displays. I think there's a tape in indicator. Wow, is there like a play indicator? Oh no, there's a rewind. In fact, I couldn't even see these before. Oh, there is a play indicator. Oh, I don't have a speed button on here. I gotta find a different remote to adjust the record speed. Record speed, and what else am I missing on your display? Let me grab a different remote. But yeah, this display is still a little bit dim, so it might actually need might have a bit of a low voltage, but honestly, this is kind of what I've experienced with this era of Hitachis. They had this dark orange lens, and these VFDs just got baked. I have I think it's like a Toshiba Thomson Consumer joint design VCR that I actually really like. It's one of my favorite workhorses, and it's got a really dim orange display. And it's branded RCA as well, so these were just like that. But holy hell, what a difference! And yeah, it was just a little dirty. Again, doesn't smell like cigarette smoke. So was this just in a smoky house? Like maybe they had a wood burning fireplace? Maybe they used to smoke and then they stopped and the smell sort of dissipated? I don't think that would have happened, because you know that smell sticks around forever. I don't know. If anyone knows what that could be, let me know in the comments, because like the only thing I can think of is just a dirty household, or a house where, although wood smoke, you think you'd smell it when you're cleaning it off. I don't know what this is. Either way, this whole thing needs a full cleaning. You know what I just realized? This is basically the same as that Hitachi hi-fi model from around 93 that I completely failed at fixing. It was stone dead, doing a bunch of weird things. This is just the forehead mono version from the previous year. So I still have the remote for that Hitachi. I ended up getting rid of it. Yeah, it just wasn't worth it. However, I kept this just because of, I think I showed this in that video, this legacy sticker for the cable lineup in Winnipeg, Shaw Cable. So on the east side of the Red River, all the channels that were available, 61 glorious channels with things like horse racing, university, future, CPAC, future, home shopping, the ad channel. No, I am very wrong on that. Despite this being made by Hitachi, and Hitachi following similar design language like I was talking about with the VCR1, VCR2 buttons, they do not in fact share codes with the RCA variety. So this does fuck all. I guess that would make sense because RCA had the same remote codes throughout their pretty much, I think, at least into the end of the 90s. But they had multiple manufacturers. So RCA had their own remote codes that were, of course, separate from Hitachi and Panasonic. But they took advantage of features that Hitachi or Panasonic would offer, like the controller on here would support 2 code sets, which is a bit of a shame because I've got actually quite a few Hitachi remotes, but no Hitachi VCRs because they all just seem to catastrophically die. All right, I dug through my box of remotes and realized I actually do have a bunch of RCA remotes this style. The late 90s, this is a GE, but it's at this point it was all the same. Now this one's old enough to have separate tracking control. I think the newer ones just use channel. It does work. It has the speed button, so I can change the record speed so we can test recording on it. It's got info, so I can turn that on. I can put counter memory, which apparently that's how you did on these older ones. Input works, even though you can also access the input through channel up and down, which is nice. Let's go to there. What else do we have? Let's go to a channel that doesn't have noise. But yeah, this seems to do everything. Doesn't have a slow motion button. Oh no, it does have a slow motion button. Just doesn't have a slow motion speed button. Oh well, I don't think anyone's gonna care. So I've hit play. So we're playing, and I've adjusted the tracking. So you can go pause. Whoa! Let's, okay. I'll do slow. Yeah, it works well enough. And then we'll hit pause again, and I can do frame advance. Color is not really locking in great, but that could just be this TV. It's having a bit of a time. Go pause again. Fast forward. Rewind. Yeah, I think it's just this particular recording is not... Whoa, it's actually not locking in at all anymore. What? Did we just develop a new problem? It's just the tracking. Oh no, I guess the tracking was just off. Pause. Yeah, it's just a really sensitive for locking the chroma on this particular recording. Maybe it's capacitors, maybe it's just how it is.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Let's find a channel I can record off of without too much problem. Ooh, that is not a good thing to record. Let me find out why this thing's acting up. Yeah, I must have hit the menu button on the remote by mistake. This is just some news. So let's hit record. So right now I have it set to SLP. Let's go and hit record. And I'm just going to do some recordings on all 3 speeds, and then let's make sure it works. So can I change the speed? Oh, I can. Excellent. Okay, so I don't have to hit pause or stop to change the speed. I always appreciated that back in the day. If you accidentally started recording on the wrong speed, you can change it on the fly rather than hitting pause or stop and losing part of the program, right? You can just do it on the fly. So do SP for a little bit and then go to LP, the middle child of speeds.
Won't try anything.
Not true.
Broccoli,
Too green.
karaoke,
Too hokey.
Then I said try 10, 3, 2, 1.
Too new.
Saves cash on every call in the U.S.
Every call?
Quick or long?
How much?
50%.
Remember when there was like a million different long distance services and they would record these stupid commercials being like, call 10, 10, and then 596, and then the whatever, and they would get like Carrot Top or John Lithgow to advertise them. There must have been a lot of money in these third-party services, and it was such a short window too. It was only a few years where it's just long distance services advertised everywhere. It was really such a interesting time.
But help is coming. Trucks
Huh. Audio's a little quiet. I'm not sure if it's the channel or the recording circuit, but that's audio's not great.
Guns and drugs. The West Bloc obtained
Yeah, you know what? The audio coming in is pretty good. There's a gain issue when recording. Not sure I even care to fix that because, like, this isn't the kind of VCR you use to record content in 2025. This is the VCR that you use to watch your old movies, which it appears to be doing fine. Like, let's grab an LP recording that this didn't make. Like, let's try a commercial LP recording.
Wow, indeed. We won't be going back to the old days anymore. Yeah, and it's got nothing to do with inflation. Rates rise independently.
Yeah, that seems okay. And that's LP. Speed I always get asked about. Actually, special effects aren't bad on LP either. Like, okay, well, that's not the best, but fast forward and rewind, like cue and review, they look just fine. This is how I remember LP being on like a four-head machine. Not perfect, but good enough.
You do what?
There. It almost gets it. Well, I think that's about as much as I'm going to do on this thing. It seems to be performing just great. Got a remote that has all the features that are missing. The VFD is a little bit dim, but that's just how these are. Every RCA from this era that I seem to find is like that. I spot checked some capacitors in the circuit for this, and I checked the voltage. It's around like 40 volts or something, which I think is what you'd expect on a VFD. Without the service manual information, I can't know for certain. It seems to be doing exactly what I would expect from one of this era, so I'm just going to say it was cleaned up and worked fine. I think it's a perfectly good machine. Too bad it's not hi-fi, because if it was hi-fi, then I would say this is, you know, the perfect little early 90s machine to use. So yeah, cleaned it up. I'm going to run a few movies through it to make sure no problems creep up. Whenever I fix these, I like watching a few movies on them for fun. Make sure that they perform. They're fun to use and play with. I did clean the transport. Some areas were really disgusting. Like this impedance roller that was basically brown. That all came off. So all the guides got clean. Video heads were actually pretty clean. Ace head was pretty clean. Fully race head was disgusting. Really, this whole thing over here was disgusting. And yeah, did some rubber renew on the pinch roller in there. It's all working great now. And all it took was all of this. So yeah, just a little bit dirty. And one more little thing before the video's over. For anyone who noticed that this has a real-time tape counter, but also noticed that it unloaded the tape when I say hit rewind or fast forward. This model does that early 90s thing where it keeps the tape loaded against the control track head. And thus, the real-time tape counter still works. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye. You know what I just realized?